Google for Education team. I'm sorry about the mix-up with the invite link. Just to let everybody get a chance to sign on, we're going to wait a few minutes to get started. Hey everyone that's signing in, this is Kristen. We're going to wait another minute or two just because I confused everything with the calendar invite just to give people a chance to sign on to this new link. Thank you for your patience. We'll get started in just a little bit. Okay, great. Thank you guys for showing up for today's Hangout on Air. My name is Kristen Kollick, and I'm on the Google for Education team. And so this Hangout is designed to address the recent updates that came out in the space of Google Play for Education. So at the Google I/O Developers Conference this last Wednesday, we had a lot of exciting changes for Google Play for Education. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of time going over those for you guys so that you can better communicate it with your customers and for the other partner reps at your organization. For a little bit of housekeeping, if you have any questions during the event, please type those into the chat area on the Google Plus page. So in order to do that, you'll probably lose the video feed, so I would recommend putting two separate windows open, one where you're watching the video and one where you can type questions and refresh that. And then I'll make sure to answer those questions at the end. In a little bit, Dan Kakish from the Google for Education team is going to join us, and he'll be helping to moderate some of those questions. But in the meantime, if you just want to chat any in there, and we can address them at the end. So just for a brief agenda of what we're going to cover in the webinar, it shouldn't take the full hour. I just wanted a chance to kind of talk through some of the changes with you guys. So we'll go first through some background around why we made these recent developments. Then I'll address the key changes that were made and how you'll talk to your Chromebook schools about these changes. And then we'll also address some of the other updates from the past week and talk about the resources that are available to you as Google for Education partners. So as of Wednesday, we're really excited to announce that the Google Play for Education site is now open to all Chromebook domains. So previously, whenever we talked about Google for Education, we talked about how Google provides schools with a platform for learning through Google Apps for Education. Then we provide devices to access that platform, so Chromebooks and tablets for education. And then we provided content to use on those devices. So as of Wednesday, it's a real unified experience when it comes to finding that content to use on devices. So in the past, you had Google Apps as the platform, Chromebooks and tablets that you could use on that platform, and then you had to go to the Chrome Web Store to find Chromebook content or the Play for Education site to find tablet content. But with the new release, there are now Chrome web apps available in the Google Play for Education site. So the Google Play site is on its way to being a one-stop shop for content to use on all Google for Education devices. So what this really means is that through Google for Education, we're providing tools that enable more teaching and less teching for teachers. So with Google Play for Education, teachers are able to find and share digital content. So we want to make it easy for them to discover that content based on grade level, Common Core standard, education approved applications, and then make it really easy for teachers to deliver that content out to their students. So being able to push out apps and books to their students so that they can really individualize the learning experience for each of their users, and to be able to do so without requiring IT help. So it really empowers teachers to have more control over what they're using devices on in the classroom. And this goes really well hand in hand with the idea of the Google Classroom product that will be fully launched in September. So the goal behind Classroom is saving teachers time on managing assignments, so kind of overlaying on top of Google Apps for Education so that they're able to use that powerful communication and collaboration suite, but not get bogged down on organizing documents or having trouble with multiple versions of different things. So with these different solutions, we're hoping that teachers have the ability to do more teaching and less teching. So I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about those key changes. So specifically opening up the Chrome Web Store the Google Play Web Store to Chromebook schools. So previously, the Play for Education site had Android applications, it had books, and it had videos. But as of Wednesday, there are now over 100 different free Chrome web apps that are in the Google Play for Education site. And so these include popular apps for all different grade levels and categories, and things that cover creative tools and science and technology and math applications. One of the reasons we announced this at the Google I/O conference on Wednesday is that Chrome developers are able to submit their apps for educator review. So we wanted to further build out the Chrome web apps that are available in the Google Play for Education site so that schools have even more choice whenever it comes to apps to use on Chromebooks. So right now in the Play for Education site, all of the Chrome web apps that are available are free, but we are hoping to include paid Chrome web apps in the future as well. So the way this actually looks structurally is that you now have the option to push out an Android app, a Chrome app, a book, or a video. And so with those Chrome apps, you get the same great story as you did with Android apps, where teachers are able to explore applications based on subject matter, grade level, and Common Core standard. And also all of the apps, all of the Chrome web apps that are in the site have been vetted and approved by other educators. So they have that Q stamp of approval, which makes them good for the classroom. We've also tried to make it easier for teachers to find strong content by organizing apps into different themes, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the Hangout. So when you're talking to Chromebook schools, how exactly should we position and approach this? So one of the big advantages of opening up the Play for Education site to Chromebook domains is that now both Chromebook and tablet readers or users have the ability to have that very adaptable library for their students' devices. So in the past, whenever we talked a lot with Android schools about how teachers are stuck with the books that they have a class set of because they had invested money into a set of hardcover books, and so therefore you ended up reading those books over and over and over again, despite the fact that they might not be the best for the lesson plans as time goes on. But with Play for Education, there are book rentals that are available so that you can push out fiction, nonfiction, textbooks, supplemental reading materials for a set period of time to a student's username. and that student is able to read that book on any device with a web browser. So now Chromebook schools and tablet schools can go into the Play for Education site, browse for books, push them out to students or groups of students, and have those students able to read that book from any device. By opening up the Play website to Chromebook users, we also are furthering the ability to learn on any device. So you are able to push out Chromebook apps to Chromebooks, Android apps to tablets, and those are going to install for students instantly. And then with the book rentals and YouTube for Education videos that you assign, they're accessible from any web browser. So we're really furthering the idea that technology is just a tool, and it's all about the content that you use on those devices, and you should be able to have as universally accessible content as possible. The other great thing is that we're making it even easier on Chromebook administrators. So there have always been some incredibly powerful management capabilities within the Chromebook management console, but teachers weren't able to use the Chromebook management console to push out content to their students. So by opening up the Play for Education site, we're allowing teachers to do the things that are important to them. They're able to set their curriculum, push out content that would be good for the students, and the tech admin doesn't have to be involved in that. So technology gets to focus on technology, and teachers get to focus on teaching. So what exactly does this look like, opening up the Play site to Chromebook schools? So as of Wednesday, all Chromebook domains are going to be getting an email letting them know that they can now access the Play for Education site. So the super admin now visits play.google.com/edu, and they're taken to a landing page where they need to accept the terms of service for Google Play for Education. Once they have accepted those terms of service, they're then taken through a warm welcome experience that walks them through what Google Play for Education is, how to use it, and then the admin's able to add on teachers to give them permission to the Play for Education site that they're able to start pushing out content to their students. To drive adoption of Google Play for Education usage with Chromebook schools, if a Chromebook admin accepts the terms of service by July 15th, then that Chromebook admin is going to be given a $20 credit to spend on materials in Play for Education. So to redeem that credit, all the admin needs to do is go to play.google.com/edu and accept those terms of service, and then we'll reach out with a promo code that will enable them to purchase $20 worth of content in Play for Education. So those of you that are familiar with tablets with Play for Education, one of the really amazing features is the ability to upload a blanket purchase order so that schools can more easily purchase and push out paid content to student devices. As of right now, Chromebook schools are temporarily unable to upload blanket POs into the Google Play for Education site, but they'll be able to do so within the next week or two, so we expect that to be available in early July. So what are some of the other new things that got announced within the last couple of weeks in regards to Google Play for Education? One really exciting thing that we announced to developers at I/O is that we have developed a task locking API for Android devices. So this basically means that the API will allow developers to build out testing mode into their apps. So this will help further the story of being able to use those 10-inch devices as approved testing devices in the coming school years. So this is going to be supported in the next release of Android. So until then, we're having developers start to develop those test-taking apps so that they'll be able to use Android tablets on PARCC and Smarter Balance tests. This was announced a couple of weeks ago, but I just wanted to reiterate it. Because it's such an important selling point whenever it comes to tablets with Play for Education. On the tablets with Google Play, you're able to have up to 5 unique usernames, so user profiles on those devices, which means that the great story around individualized and personalized learning can be accomplished with 5 students on a shared device. So this is a great way for schools to be able to try out tablets with Play for Education and get a one-to-one experience without having to purchase a tablet for every user. Another really exciting announcement from the developers conference last week is that we released teacher tips within the Google Play for Education site. So formerly, whenever you went to click on an application that you were interested in using with your students, a teacher was able to see a description of the app, they could see screenshots, they could see the different badges, whether or not it was EDU approved, whether or not it was in-app free, and they could see reviews from the Google Play consumer site. But now the apps also have teacher tips. So these are practical ideas that are specific for the classroom. So these are written by Google Play for Education users, so you know that they're all educators. And these are already built in for quite a few different Android apps and Chrome web apps that are in the Play for Education site. And since all users are able to create these tips, so to write a tip, there's going to be just even more built out within the Play for Education site. Another thing that we're starting to feature, so a bit of a new release, is that we've started to put both Android content and Chrome content into themes. So these are different ways where schools can more easily get started using content on their devices. We talk to a lot of schools that are really excited about Chromebooks or really excited about tablets, but they're a little hesitant about knowing how to best use them in the classroom or what apps would be best to start off installing on their devices. So we've put together these 4 different themed buckets: creative tools, paperless classroom, adaptive apps, and flexible reading. So each of these bundles has a list of recommended apps within there, and so schools can use those to get started. And you as partners and as salespeople can use them as a way to solution sell the offering so that people are more familiar with the type of content that they can use on devices whenever they purchase them. One thing to highlight is that we are continuing to offer free deployment and professional development to all tablet customers. So all schools that are purchasing tablets with Play for Education are going to be getting a free kickoff call with Google to help get them set up on tablets with Google Play for Education. And also, as of Wednesday, we have now made professional development modules available in the Google Learning Center. So these are all online modules that teachers can sign in and take to become familiar with the tablet offering, with Android apps, with using Google Play for Education. So something that's really great for the summer break, because schools that are purchasing tablets now can point their teachers to the Learning Center and have them kind of take some of those modules over the summer. And it will be something that is continue to be available online, so schools will be able to self-serve for that professional development. For you guys as partners, if you have any large potential opportunities, I would recommend letting your Google rep know about that potential opportunity, because we're also offering some more advanced professional development for large ops. So customers that are purchasing over 500 tablets will also start getting on-site PD, so a program that was developed by us and our partners that will cover tablet basics, Google Play for Education, apps in action in the classroom, and depending upon the quantity that the school is purchasing, they're able to get additional days of PD, some pre-work and follow-ups via Hangout. So this is a really great sales tool to help drive some urgency with your customers, because this customer PD is something that's only available for a limited time. As partners, another important piece is that schools no longer need to be on Google Apps for Education in order to purchase tablet management licenses. So it was previously a requirement that they had to have a setup Google Apps for Education domain in order to get those licenses. Now a school can go ahead and purchase those licenses, provide Google with that domain, and we'll set them up with an account. The school will still have to go in and verify that domain and complete setup for Google Apps, but it won't be kind of the gating factor in purchasing their licenses. If you have any schools that are interested in purchasing that aren't currently on Google Apps, please let me know, just so that we can give a heads up at this point to our order processing team that they'll need to create that Google Apps domain. So finally, I just wanted to talk about some of the resources that are available to you. Many of you are probably familiar with the Google Play for Education pitch deck that we've been using, the one that's got the students who are deeply engaged in using tablets in the classroom. We've updated that deck since launch that has some new slides in there, so we'll share out that deck with all of our partners. There's also going to be a formal GEC webinar that's happening on July 9th, so the Wednesday after the 4th of July, where I'll actually go through that new pitch deck so you can see how we're positioning this new open Google Play for Education site. As of right now, if you want to go and check out google.com/edu, our website has been updated. There are a couple of new pages there. There's a new one that's about the Play for Education site in general, and then we've broken it out into tablets, Chromebooks, and solutions. We also have 2 new PDFs that you can send to your customers, a tablets overview and then a Google Play for Education overview. Both of those should have been included in the initial launch email that you guys received, but feel free to start sending those to customers at this point. Those have also been uploaded into GEC, so you can pull those at any point. So that kind of concludes the prepared slides for today's Hangout on Air. I know I threw a lot of information out at you, so if you have any questions, please let me know and go ahead and type those into the Google Plus page where you can list comments, and I'll start addressing those now as I refresh my feed. So I'm refreshing the page, and it doesn't look like there have been any questions yet. If you have any, please do add those as a comment into the Google Plus event page, and I'll be able to pull those up to answer them for you. All right, well, it doesn't look like there are any questions that are coming up. Oh, take it back. Brad Meyer did ask whether or not those resources are available on GEC. They are. The updated pitch deck is not there yet, but it will be shortly. The 2 different PDFs are available on GEC, so the new tablets overview and the new Google Play for Education overview. Natalie has asked about a contact list of Google reps at the different levels of opportunity. So the professional development is based on the size of the tablet opportunity, so the number of tablet devices that the schools are purchasing. Our reps, though, are broken up by the size of district. So all of our reps are covering tablets, Chromebooks, Google Apps for Education. So it'll be a matter of identifying the district, the size, and then finding the rep at Google. And each of your partner managers should have the list of Google reps that you can reach out to based on the district. Dan asks about whether or not this affects the management console or just the Play Store. So the way it's going to work now is that every Chromebook school will need to purchase Chromebooks and a Chromebook license, which will give them access to both the Play site and the controls within cPanel. For tablet schools, they'll need to purchase Android tablets and the Play for Education licenses, which will also give them the ability to control devices within cPanel and access the Play for Education site for content. The key difference is that now admins who were previously solely responsible for managing Chromebooks through the control panel will be able to provide teachers with access to Play for Education. So teachers at Chromebook schools will be able to have be more empowered to push out content to their students' devices rather than depending upon admins doing that through Control Panel. But for the purposes of selling, you'll still need one license per every device, and the licenses will correspond with the type of device that they're getting. So Chromebooks for Chromebooks, tablets for tablets. Irene has asked about getting a copy of this slide deck, and yes, I can share that out with the people that attended today, and I'll do so after the presentation. I'm going to refresh one more time, see if there are other questions that have been coming in. Doesn't look like anything else has come up as of yet. So just for a bit more information, I will share out this deck to you guys that had attended. I'll make sure that the updated Google Play for Education pitch deck is in GEC. And then also just be aware that we'll be going over that new pitch deck and talking about any additional changes on July 9th at a more formal webinar through GEC that you can sign up for through the Connect site. I'll stay on the line for a little bit more if there are any other questions, but thanks so much for coming this morning, and appreciate your patience during some of these Hangout on Air difficulties in regards to switching up links on you at the last minute. But I appreciate your time, and let me know if there are any other questions. Feel free to email me directly. Thanks, everyone. Another question's coming up from Matt. Hey Matt, asked about whether or not the management console, will the devices be viewed in separate tabs? Yes. Whenever you go into the Google Apps for Education control panel, when you click on device management, there are two different icons. There's Android devices and then there's Chromebooks. So that management within the control panel will still take place under separate tabs. And then within the Play for Education site, it's also very clearly differentiated which apps work on an Android tablet and which ones work on a Chromebook. Questions have slowed down, so I'm going to go ahead and close out, but thanks again for coming, everybody. Appreciate your time. Bye.